All right, this unit is continuing with our other geometric shapes and geometry lessons. And this unit is called Congruent Figures. So if you look in your book on page 336, you will see that there's two pictures. The first one is a checkerboard, and so it's a square, and it has squares inside of it. And we're just going to pretend that my squares are congruent because clearly they are not. And then the second one is a circle. Oh wow, this is really bad circles. With more circles inside. So we're going to pretend those are congruent also. Okay, and it says identify any congruent figures. Well, what is congruency? And it is when one item or geometric figure will fit on top of another geometric figure. And so if we look at the checkerboard, we're going to pretend that these are all the same size like they are in the book. The squares are congruent. But if we look at the rings are not, because each one is larger than the next. So these are not the same size, whereas we're going to pretend that each of these squares is the same size. So if we go to the next page, we have two triangles. So we have triangle ABC, A, B, C, and then we have triangle EFD, okay, and over here 3 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, 5 meters. Okay, now they want to know whether the triangles are congruent. Well, you can tell just by looking at them that they would be congruent. You would just flip this one over and it would fit on top of that. But they're going to use something called a proof, or a list of reasons why it's congruent. So they're going to say, well, line AC is equal to DF. This is going to be important later. DF. And then AB is equal to DE. And BC is equal to EF. So we can use a rule called the side rule, SSS rule, that ABC is congruent to DEF. You do need to write the letters in the same order, so of the congruency. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. ABC, DEF. Okay? They will fit exactly over on top of each other. So if you look down on the next thing, it says, for polygons with more than 3 sides, it is not enough to compare the measure of their sides. So if you have a rectangle Those are supposed to mean that it's right triangle or right angles. And 120 meters, 120 meters, 70 meters, 70 meters. And then you have a parallelogram with the same side lengths. Are these two shapes, can you lay this on top of this exactly? No. So if you have more than a triangle, more sides than a triangle, then you also have to have equal angles. They can only be congruent if the angles are also equal. Okay, so let's look at example 3. It says, determine the unknown measure in each set of congruent polygons. So if it tells you that they are congruent, then you know that they're going to be equal. So here's the first one that they give you. It's this odd shape. And the angles are 87 degrees, 93 degrees, 118 degrees, and 62 degrees. And then they give you the exact same shape. They tell you it's congruent, but they leave out one of the angles. And they say, what is the measure of this angle? Well, if this is congruent to this, you know it's going to be the same as that. So x is going to equal 93 degrees. Okay? Because these are going to be equal. Equal side lengths, equal angle measures. So letter B is a little more tricky. They say an unknown angle measure, the unknown side length of two congruent polygons. Well, if you look at the polygons, they're the same shape, but they're tipped. So you have to make sure you are looking at the congruent side. So the first one looks like this. And it's not going to be exact, but you get the idea. So there's the first one. And then the second one is the same shape. It's just turned. So they took this and they turned it. Now they give us the side measures on one of them. So it's 3, 2, 3, 5, 4. And they want to know what is the side measure on this shape. So this polygon and this polygon are congruent. They told us that. So all we need to do is find the corresponding line, which is here, and that's 3. So x equals 3. Okay, so just the two things you're going to have to look out for is making sure you're rotating your shape to be the same. So you are looking for corresponding lines and angles. And then 2, looking to see if they're only congruent if you can fit one on top of the other without seeing any parts of the one underneath. Okay, so they're not equivalent, or they have to be exact. They're only congruent if they are exact. Okay, so for your homework, you are going to do numbers 1. Okay, you're going to need do numbers 1 through 18 all. So on page 338, 1 through 18 all.